gaming, all things streaming, with a healthy dose of beer, sports and travel. This can only be one thing. It's time for the Chef Schanne podcast with your host, Matthew Schanne.
So, welcome back to the podcast. Hope y'all are well with this chaotic time in our country. Hopefully you're binging the podcast or whatever podcast is definitely interesting you. I've been running out of podcasts fairly quickly, so I've been trying to bang out these every once in a while to keep you guys up to date with the stuff that I've been posting, which has been mainly older games until we get closer into Final Fantasy. That'll be the next big pod. So let's just get into this one for today. First game series that I want to talk about today was Sega's old versions of the Jurassic Park games. These were old, very, very old video games. The first one was released in 1993. I'm pretty sure they released three different type of games, but they all revolved around the same storyline. One was released in 93 for the NES, and then the Game Boy was originally scheduled for release in 93. And then there was a PC version, and then they had in Sega too. Was the Ocean Software originally released three distinct games, while Sega released 4. So both Sega and Oceanware did their own things. They all, as I look here, basically the developers for all things Jurassic Park over the past 10 years has been like ridiculous. There's at least like 30 various developers here. Really the only big ones here are Ocean, Sega, DreamWorks, Nami. What's the other one over here? And Telltale Games, which we all know now from the Telltale series. Then they released everything from the old Sega Genesis to the Xbox One were released. But there was 3 games that followed the first 3 movies. And the objective to finish the game was to escape from Isla Nublar. This game was this Jurassic Park Rampage, which is one of the sequels to the original. Which this one you could play as Grant or a Velociraptor. I remember this one because you had to escape from you had to deal with dinosaurs, but you also had to deal with the InGen soldiers. That one was really, really, really super cool because it was like one of the first ones that you got to play as the actual creature, not just as a human being. facing off against all these monster dinosaurs. And then 97, and DreamWorks utilized their internal company in DreamWorks Interactive, and they put out a game. Must not did well because there's not a whole lot about that one. And a lot of them, nowadays have been just, dinosaurs against dinosaurs and stuff like that. And then there was, when, to coincide with the third movie, there was a video game that was based off it was an arcade game, Jurassic Park, that was based off the Jurassic Park 3 game where you were able to shoot your way through. It was in the old arcades down the shore and stuff like that. And then the rest of them were like dinosaur rescue and dinosaur fighting games and stuff like that, all interactive with, you had to, basically like what your dinosaur was good at and what your dinosaur was bad at, and face off against other dinosaurs, and whatever dinosaur you beat, that's the dinosaur, you get to keep on your like little roster type thing. It's kind of what the general idea was for these other games, other than the Lego Jurassic World and all that. But these ones always followed the movies. Always followed the first couple movies. So, but and then this one's like a Jurassic World Alive. It's like a Pokemon Go type thing. It must not did well. I've never heard of that. It was pretty recent, 2018. It was a Pokemon Stone kind of game where there would be a dinosaur and probably you face off against that dinosaur, and then bam, done. And that should be it for Jurassic Park. Let's see here. Alright, we're on the Just Cause series. We're on the Just Cause series. That's a very good series. Just Cause has been was pretty good. It was definitely a really, really good series. Just your basic first-person shooter, but yeah, you had some twists and turns different with the campaign. They always threw some kind of twist in there to make you think about the game itself. But it was basically at the beginning, you basically basically this is a game that you can just blow things up, but also it had a pretty good story to go with it. So you put those. Well, I spelled Just Cause wrong. Whoopsie. But yeah, it was Just Cause. Here. You don't like that? Sorry. Well, I'll do one game at a time then. Alright, here we go. It says an action adventure. It's not really an action adventure, but it does. It is an open world type game. But like I said, it's got you had a bunch of different things you got to play. In all four games, you guys play as a Rico Rodriguez, a secret agent who originally hails from the Mediterranean nation of Medici, which is where the third game is set. Yeah, I remember that. So the core gameplay elements consist of third-person shooter and a driving game with a huge open-world map to explore. And like I said, you're capable of walking, swimming, jumping, and utilizing any weapon that you come across. You can take control of all vehicles, including cars, boats, airplanes, helicopters, and motorcycles. Basically, just explosion porn through the first couple of games. If you guys never played this game before, definitely check it out. This game series has been one of my top favorites for a while. I finished 4 a year ago in late 2018, so 2 years ago. Like I said, these games are just basically explosion porn through the first two. Not a whole lot of story elements to the first two, but the third had a lot of story element, and the fourth definitely had a good story element. But it had to have good story elements to get back when you go back to the place that the guy first grew up and stuff like that. Oh, they had a film adaptation of Just Cause. Titled Just Cause: Scorpion Rise. Huh. Never knew that. As of April. That's why it never happened. Memo was supposed to play Rico. Actually, would have been a really good movie. Memo did it. But Memo probably didn't want to do it because not many video game series become good movies. Alright, let's see. Lego movie. Lego. We're going to do the first of its kind here, and it was Lego Star Wars. It was the real kickoff of the Lego game craze. And the first ones were coming out when I was still in school. And yeah, Lego Star Wars was originally licensed from 1999 to 2008. Standard license first until 2011, and then to 2016, and then again to 2022. Because they keep on releasing movies, so they had to keep on extending their license. So basically now you got, these are the games: Lego Star Wars the video game, Lego Star Wars 2 the original trilogy, Lego Star Wars the complete saga, Lego Star Wars 3 the Clone Wars, Lego Star Wars the Force Awakens, and then the new one that's going to be coming out in 2020, Lego Star Wars the Skywalker Saga, which is Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. This was this is basically, yet again, this is the first of the, everything after this was not a, everything came after, all the other, Lego games came after this. Your Batman, your Superman, your Marvel, your, I don't think Justice League had one, but, basically any video game that was Lego, this was the one to originally kick it off back in 99. Which, I'm not sure. Let me see here. Let's see. Lego Star Wars. Lego Star Wars the video game. I was about to say, I don't think it came out that early. But yeah, it came out in 2005. The original one came out in 2005. Then the next one came out in 2006. Complete Saga came out in 2007. Clone Wars came out in 2011. 2016, obviously, the Force Awakens. And then 2020, it's going to be the Rise of Skywalker. It's going to have all 9 films in it. So this is going to have Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3. All 9. That's pretty cool. I might have to. That goes on to Game Pass. I'm definitely putting that on my Xbox. That's going to take a lot out. And yeah, this game was like the first of its kind when it came out, and it was good. It was a nice little money grab for for people to make for this company to make, because it was a bulletproof plan, because this is going to stay around for generations and generations and generations. You can't just expect things, you can't be like, you gotta do something different. And a lot of the times they were doing, regular first person shooter type Star Wars games, and this took it to a different level. It was fun. It was different. They could have done whatever they wanted to this game, because it was a bunch of Legos, and everyone knows it's a bunch of Legos. So you could have done the most messed up shit if you wanted to, but they really didn't. It was just like this goofy little game that you get to play, and it's really, really cool. It makes the hours playing it seem non-existent. I think I'll do Lord of the Rings series next. Alright. Lord of the Rings game was the one that I'm thinking of was only on PC, I believe. All right. Okay. Let's see if I can find it here. It's hard to find these things on the internet, because Lord of the Rings was, especially the Return of the King one, was the one that really stood out. It was basically like I guess, Dungeons and Dragons kind of like Slayer game, but with Lord of the Rings characters, and that was really fun as a younger kid. I was playing it pretty hardcore. Like, I was being on like the hardest level. I have everyone busy. It was really, oh my god, fucking hate this. I hate typing on my Fire Stick. It stinks. Yeah, so it did come out for something else too. It was Return of the King, which that was it came out on the GameCube too. Here we go. So everyone probably is already familiar with the his adaptations in Shadow of Mordor and more in the North. I'm not sure if that was the one, but there's Shadow of Mordor. I forget the sequel, Shadow of Mordor, but Shadow of Mordor was a really, really good game. I really, really enjoyed it. Open world, again, somewhat, I guess. Oh, and Shadow of Mordor was the sequel, and that both of those got Game of the Year. Very, very good games. They spent a lot of time on the particulars of making Middle-earth look like how it did in the movies. But like I said, the other ones were like the computer games were amazing, absolutely unbelievable. You had Battle for Middle-earth game series. I think it was the two of them, and that was it. And you could play as your, whatever you wanted to be. You could be the elves or the I think it was elves, men, or no, yeah, it was, I think elves. I know it was Mordor, Isengard were the ones, and golems on some of the maps. You could be the golems, and then elves, and I think it was just elves and men. I think were the two good guys that you could be. I don't know. I haven't played this game. I haven't played that game in a while, but it was basically like you built stuff. You built as much as you could. And whoever got the castle was basically had the advantage. You keep out and put archers up there, line your archers up, get catapults going, and man, you'd be done. You'll kill everyone if you have the castle. Because then you get protection. It's so much easier. You can beat anything on hard at that point. But it was just a good game to play if you weren't looking for. You're looking for just like a regular type game, like kind of like, I guess it's not an RPG, but just kind of like a really, really just cool versus game. Not really. Nothing, you didn't have to think a whole lot playing that game, except, for maybe not put my real helium out there when there's Pikmin out there and stuff like that. But yeah, they did make games based off of all the movies. Two Tower, Return of the King, like I said before, and The Fellowship, and they had just followed all the stuff in those movies. Basically just taken right out of the movies. There was a lot of the cutscenes that were basically just imprinted from the movies, just like it was in what was it? Just like in Kingdom Hearts, they did that too. I think that'll be it for tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow for another episode. I'm going to try to keep these a little bit shorter. I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time, which I could with all these games on here, but definitely come back tomorrow. We're going to be doing Mafia, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Mercenaries, and NFL Blitz. Alright. Peace out, guys.
This episode has ended, but Chef Schanne has more to offer. Head over to chefshanepodcast.com and grab the latest merch. Hit subscribe and don't miss any further episodes.